right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. We have some information that we want to share. What's going to happen tonight is we're going to start with Police Chief Pat Anhalt. He'll talk a little bit about the investigation, where we're at in the investigation. Then we're going to have EMS Chief Brian Goff talk about the injuries that were sustained to our first responders and to the civilians in this community. Fire Chief Chris Garrison will then talk about the evacuation process and how that went down for those 45 minutes from the time of call until the explosion. And he'll also talk about a little bit about the firefighter who lost his life serving this community. Assistant Chief Bill Sullivan from the fire department, we can talk about a processional that we're planning tonight for that firefighter, and then we'll have some comments, closing comments from the governor. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Police Chief Pat Anhalt.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Please allow me to provide several updates on today's events. First off, this is very much an active and ongoing investigation. The Sun Prairie Police and Fire Departments are leading that investigation with support from the State Fire Marshal's Office. With the life-saving efforts for the most part completed today, the investigation has started in earnest, and we anticipate we will be on scene for several days. A resource through United Way 211 has been established for our community members. Our community members can access the United Way 211 website and gain information about returning to properties, WE Energy contacts, access to homes that are currently restricted for things like pets and purses and pills. WE Energies and the fire department continue to work on relighting and re-engaging systems in our homes, and they are out working right now, have been working all day. And again, if there's any question related to that process, our community members can access the United Way 211 resource. The Sun Prairie Police Department, with many of our partners throughout the southern Wisconsin and our fire department resources throughout this region, continue to provide scene security and attempt in all effort to help our community restore from this tragedy. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the incredible response we've received from this community. I'm a Sun Prairie kid, and I know this is a great community, but the response has been overwhelming. Thank you for your kindness. On behalf of the Sun Prairie Police Department, I would like to express my condolences to our fallen colleagues, family, friends, and fellow firefighters. And at this point, I will turn things over to our EMS Chief, Brian Goff.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'd like to share with you some information about the injuries that were sustained during the incident yesterday that began in the early evening, through the overnight hours, and then into the early morning. We transported a total of 12 patients to the hospital via ambulance. We saw a number of people that we would consider walking wounded that were treated with basic first aid on the scene. Those that we transported included the firefighter that lost his life, the firefighter that was critically injured who remains in the hospital, as well as some other firefighters that suffered injuries related to the work that they were doing on the scene, such as heat exhaustion and the like. We did transport one police officer who was injured, as well as 5 civilians for various types of injuries that were generally minor in nature, from cuts and scrapes and the like. As it stands at the moment, we have one individual that remains in the hospital. That would be the firefighter that was a critical injury, who has since been upgraded, is now in stable condition with a good prognosis. All of the patients have been discharged from the hospital. I'd like to echo Chief Anhalt's comments and express my sincerest thanks to all of our partners here in the community for all of their support. The response from the community to provide assistance to the responders that were at the scene and helping to work all through the night was phenomenal and very greatly appreciated. Our partner agencies around the state responded in force. We at one point had a maximum of 12 ambulances on the scene ready to respond to whatever it was that we found. And I want to acknowledge all of those agencies and thank them very much. That being said, I'll turn it over to Chief Garrison.
Evening. We are Sun Prairie. This is our home. I can't thank the community enough for how much they've stepped up for us and been there for us. I've only been here 3 short years, and the family feeling I get here is just absolutely amazing. And the partnerships that I have here with police, fire, EMS, and our public officials has been absolutely amazing. I'd like to touch a little bit on our response yesterday first. We responded to the area yesterday for the report of a gas leak. These are usually minor calls, one engine, which we responded with one engine in our command vehicle. Fortunately enough that our firefighters got on the scene right away and established the hot zone, which is an area, a perimeter of about 300 feet, and we cleared and evacuated in that hot zone approximately 65 residents who were at different establishments throughout the area, including the Bar House, the Wooden Nickel, and numerous other businesses in the area, including apartments up above. My people went right to work, clearing people, making sure people were out of danger. The gas leak was not, we were not able to control it. All we were able to do was protect our citizens. So that's what we did. As firefighters, sometimes you have to put yourself in the middle of that, and that's what my firefighters did. And they cleared 65 people and then probably another 50 after that, so a total of 115 people came out of the areas that you see damaged behind you. The gas company got on scene. They did a great job, but we continuously got updates on where the gas was traveling, getting into the sewer systems and getting into the different areas, infrastructure throughout. And we knew we had problems, so we had to continuously move out our effective zone and increase the area of our hot zone. So we established a command presence at Patrick Marsh, set up by numerous people behind us, and I can't tell you how well it went. And the quick implementation of incident command and the rapid response of firefighters, EMS, and police saved a lot of lives yesterday. This could have been a lot more tragic than it was. With that being said, I want to move on to our loss. Corey Barr, a 15-year veteran with our organization, a gentleman that I promoted to captain, a community member, a business owner in the community, a great father. We didn't lose a firefighter yesterday. We lost a family member. We lost a friend. We lost a dear friend. And we will be affected forever, but we will continue to build strength and be a better organization with Corey's legacy in our hearts. Corey leaves behind Abby, his lovely wife, and his 2 twin children, his parents, who I spent time with last night, and it's been very difficult for everybody. But she is strong, and she's a good woman, and she will move her family forward and always have Corey's heart, spirit, and soul in her life. And we will always have that too, our brother, who we lost. And I can't forget the 2 other firefighters, one who was in critical condition last night but upgraded and was up walking around today and doing well, and the other one who walked out of the hospital this afternoon. I'm so proud of my people. I'm so proud of fire. I'm so proud of police. I'm so proud of EMS, and I'm so proud of our public officials and our citizens. I couldn't be prouder to be a resident and employee of Sun Prairie. Thank you.
Again, I'd like to say thank you to the support that we've had from the community. from the firefighters from across this nation, from our friends and from our families. Thank you. This evening, Captain Corey Bauer will be escorted from the medical examiner's office back to Sun Prairie. The route will be along Highway 12 and 18. It will come north on Highway I-90-94. It will turn west and come on to Highway 151. Coming down 151, the procession will exit onto North Bristol Street at exit 103 and proceed down Bristol Street to the Sun Prairie Fire Station, at which point it'll turn along Angel Street and go back up Columbus to Tushin Newcomer Funeral Home. Again, I can say thank you, and thanks for the support. Thank you. I will turn it over to Governor Walker.
Well, first off, on behalf of the 5.8 million people here in the state of Wisconsin, I want to say particularly to the Sun Prairie Fire Department and particularly to the family of Corey Barr, that on behalf of the state, we send our love and our prayers to his wife, to his children. I understand that the chief told me his parents are deaf. I grew up in Delavan, so I love you. I think on behalf of the whole state, we say we love you, we love your family, we love all in the fire service here. We send our love not only to the fire service in Sun Prairie, but to the police, to the EMS, and to all those others who responded. As each had mentioned, we just got a chance to tour a little bit. I talked to the Mayor Esther's here, who's been up literally this morning when I talked to him. He hadn't gone to sleep at 8 this morning. Been up all night with this incredible team and the folks working with them. And like so many other folks, just came out of the woodwork. There's an incredible mutual aid system in this state. People showed up through that system, and people showed up even beyond that, who weren't on call. People from surrounding departments, from fire service, from law enforcement, at the local level, at the county level. I know folks from the State Patrol. Obviously, part of the command center here was from the Wisconsin Department of Justice. Just people came out in force. Then you had groups like the American Red Cross, the Salvation Army, each stepping up to provide these incredible heroes support throughout the night and into today. It's been amazing to see the devastation that was brought on. Obviously, all that can be fixed, but first and foremost, it is tragic just because of the loss of Captain Barr. But it is clear that he, as did his fellow firefighters and those in the law enforcement and EMS who assisted them, it is a tragedy because of his death. But he is without a doubt a hero, as those who worked with him, because there's no doubt, looking at that site, that had they not evacuated the people, literally some of whom were kitty corner across the way at one of the restaurants, others in the buildings, the tragedy of one would have been far greater. And so sometimes people overuse the word hero. I think without a doubt, the heroic efforts done of those first responders here to take heed of the caution that was required, that otherwise, as the chief mentioned, might have been a relatively routine response, literally saved probably immeasurable lives when you think of all the people that were here. And so I think that's something on behalf of all of us, not just those in Sun Prairie, not just in this region, but all across the state and arguably around the country. We just want to send our love and appreciation to all those who are here, and our thanks for what they've done. Today is the day to hear from them and to focus on that. I appreciate the opportunity to hear earlier from the mayor, to hear from members of the council who are here, city administrator. You've got folks from utilities and others. It's a team effort, and they're going to need a lot of help to physically clean up what's done down here, but they will rebuild, there's no doubt. This community, this downtown will be better and stronger because of it. We just need to make sure, not just today, tomorrow, Saturday, the services in the weeks to come, that we support Captain Barr's family, and that we support those men and women and the fire service, particularly in this community and throughout the larger community across the state and around the country, who will feel that pain for some time to come. The best thing we can do is make sure we continue to be unified here and helping rebuild this area and giving the support. And certainly on a technical side, the mayor and I already talked about, once things are safe here, we'll be working with the city on even the main thoroughfare here in terms of the street, having the state work with the city on making sure that's done after everything's safe, with utilities being corrected and getting to the bottom of exactly what happened to make sure we prevent this from happening here or anywhere else in the state. So again, thanks to everybody in this community for stepping up.
Thank you, everybody. We have time if anybody has any questions.
Can I ask, do we know are we any closer to knowing what sparked the fire? And was Captain Barr, I know he owned a business in the area, did he go back to the station to get his stuff, or did he just go right into work?
So I will answer the investigation component, and then I'll turn it over to the chief. But as you can see from the devastation, this just happened last night. And we're not even 24 hours into what happened. So this is very, very in the beginning stages of a very in-depth and intense investigation. So until we get exactly what occurred and what the facts are, we're not going to release any information until that time.
Sun Prairie Fire Department is a combination fire department. Corey Barr is one of the volunteers, the volunteer captain, and he responded from home. Literally parked in front of the station, got his gear on, and ran over to assist.
You mentioned the procession. What time is that beginning?
I'm sorry, ma'am?
What time will the procession begin for the medical examiner's office?
Our understanding is sometime between 8 and 8:30, so we do not have the exact specific time.
And it could be later.
That's what we're anticipating, that the medical examiner will be releasing Corey Barr, and then the procession will start after that point.
And we'll be communicating that. So we'll be communicating with the fire department when Captain Barr is recovered and is being brought home. Fire department's going to be communicating with the police department. We'll be putting information out on our Facebook page and our website so we can get that information out to the community of when Captain Barr will be coming home.
Can you name the company that ruptured the line?
I cannot. Like I mentioned before, nothing's going to be released until we get to the bottom of exactly what occurred.
When do you anticipate people being let back to their homes that live right here on Main Street?
The only answer I can honestly give you to that is when we can assure it's safe. We had a gas buildup. Accumulations can be anywhere, so we're doing our due diligence to make sure that our residents are safe. Unfortunately, it's going to cause an inconvenience, but it's an inconvenience we're willing to deal with for the safety of our residents.
On that note, just about an hour ago, they were kind of messing with this manhole right here and said they were getting some high readings. Are you continuously seeing high readings in the area?
Not high readings, but we do have some readings. As I said, this is a residual situation. If you understand the flow of gas and how it can get into sewer lines and everything else, we have a big job here. And we have one job, is to make sure our citizens are safe. And we're not going to do anything to sidestep that.
We're still seeing some smoke, too, almost 24 hours later. Can you give us an update on what the scene looks like currently?
Typical, sir. One of the issues is that we couldn't put out this fire immediately because the gas is required to burn, or we're going to have a worsened situation. So with that being said, there's numerous hot spots that will continue to pop up, and that's why we have other communities in here literally running our fire department right now. I really have nothing to do with the command structure of this. It's our Mavis division and external help is here running our fire department because my people are they're done. No.
Do you know who the contractor was? Does the city know?
Again, I'm just going to say it one more time, all right? We're not going to release any information as it relates to the contractor, what work they're doing, who they were, whether we know them or not. We are in the beginning stages of a very, very active and very involved investigation. And until we get to that point, we figure out exactly what's going to happen to protect the integrity of that investigation, we're not going to release any information on that, okay?
Lieutenant, there's nothing to indicate at this point that this wasn't anything more than an accident.
I can't say. This is a death investigation because we had a firefighter who lost his life, and we need to figure out how he lost his life. And so it's a death investigation right now, so that's what we're in the midst of.
How far is the radius of structural damages in the downtown area? Something to worry about in the rest of the
We will continue to access, and that's what this organization is a team. And we have our building department, and we have OSHA, and all different kinds of agencies in here to assure our residents their safety. We have issues with certain buildings that we know we are not going to be able to immediately occupy. So we will leave that to the experts and the right people. We're a team. We don't do anything by ourselves.
Can you elaborate which building the explosion happened at and what building may have been damaged or destroyed?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Was Captain Barr evacuating the bar house as some rumors of...
No, sir. The bar house was evacuated by my personnel before Captain Barr even got on the scene.
Obviously, you lost one of your own. Can you tell us what that's like at
No. It's not even here yet. I can't tell you that.
Do you have an idea of how many firefighters responded and how many agencies responded?
You know, usually we'd have that number for you instantly because we have time to sit back and put that together. But my guess is we probably had at least 200 firefighters and 50-some police officers plus assisting with this situation. We will get accurate numbers for you, but that's when we can get more than 2 to 3 hours of sleep at a time.
Are there any other agencies investigating besides the Fire Police Department?
Well, OSHA's here, and OSHA will do their due diligence, and we've got a lot of experts in this area that will assist us and help us out. The Fire Marshal's office is here, and I'm sure a lot more will be involved.
Can you tell us more about the status of the people at the hospital?
As I said, one firefighter was released. He's at the station right now because he wanted to be with everybody, and he's up doing very, very well. He was the driver of the vehicle, and he was hit pretty hard, but he's a big, tough guy, and he made it through it. And then our other firefighter, he's doing great. I've visited him now twice, and I will visit him again tonight. The last I was told is we were very concerned last night when we heard a couple of things, but he was up walking around and talking today. But he's got a long road to recovery.
Were all three of the injured firefighters in the same area? What were they doing? Where were they?
All of them, and I don't quote me exactly on this number, all of them were probably right outside of the safety zone. We'd actually fallen back when the explosion had happened, so they were pretty good distance from the actual leak location. I would say 300 feet at least, and we were just very unfortunate that the situation that arose affected them. But yeah, they were fairly close.
Were you able to access the firefighters right away, or did you have to go through some extraction?
We had to go through some extraction. They weren't readily visible.
So you had 5 civilians also injured and transported to the hospital.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Is there a police officer injured as well?
We had one law enforcement officer injured, that's correct.
Transported?
He was, and he's been released.
5 civilians.
Yes, sir.
3 firefighters. 9,
We had additionals that happened throughout the course of the late night hours and into the early morning.
civilians, firefighters.
Firefighters.
So you had more firefighters transported.
We should have a total of 7 public safety and 5 civilian, I think is the total.
How many of those 7 were firefighters and how many were police officers?
6 and 1. There's 1 law enforcement officer, the rest were firefighters.
What were the nature of their injuries?